Okay, so this video is going to be about hand placement in Chaturanga, but I want to give a little bit of back history to give a little bit of context. So for a long time in the yoga world, it was always taught, do not engage your glutes in a back bend, which hopefully that's no longer taught because you want to use your glutes in the back bend. It's really crazy when you think about how the hip works and the mechanics of a back bend, right? What are your hips doing in the back bend? Your hips are in extension, right? If I am in camel pose, my hips are in extension. Now, your glutes are your biggest hip extender. So what they were saying for many years was, do not engage the biggest muscle that provides the most in the hip extension, which is, again, kind of crazy. The reason they said it was they said, what happens is we don't want you to compress your low back. And when you engage your glutes, you compress your low back, which is kind of nonsense because the glutes don't compress your low back. What compresses your low back is actually just going too far. So if we just get rid of the culture of going too far, we don't have to worry about compression of the low back and the back bend because when you engage your glutes, muscle engagement in and of itself is no threat to any sort of structure. It is going too far, okay? So we've changed that, right? Most time, hopefully, again, all the time, teachers are teaching, engage the glutes in your back bends. We want to use the hip extenders when the hips are in extension. In Chaturanga, what are you always told, okay? You're always told hands underneath the shoulders, elbows into the side body, okay? What are they trying to do? What they're trying to do is hold you in tight so that way your shoulder doesn't roll forward, okay? The problem is when you understand the shoulder, the mechanics of the shoulder in Chaturanga is that eliminates a lot of the muscles that we can engage to support the shoulder, which is what we actually want because Chaturanga is to build strength in the shoulder, not to just achieve a shape, okay? So when the elbows are in tight, hands are underneath the shoulders, I cannot engage my pecs very well. I cannot engage my adductors very well on the side body. And guess what? Your pecs are the glutes of the shoulder. They are a big unifier, they are a big stabilizer, and they're a big mover, okay? So when my hands go a little bit wider, I can engage my chest a little bit more. My chest has a little bit more freedom than being collapsed inwards. It has a little bit more freedom to engage. So big supporter, stabilizer of the shoulder, I can now engage more, okay? Also, your pec is a big adductor to hold the shoulder in, right? To hold the ball into the socket, right? More and stabilize it. And when the hands are out a little bit wider, these muscles can engage to support the shoulder. When I'm in condensed here, I can't fire the adductors, I can't fire the pec, I can't get the pec to stabilize, and I can't get the pec to adduct. So it's not about elbows into the side body. It's not about having the hands underneath the shoulder. That is not going to protect your shoulder in Chaturanga. What's going to protect your shoulder in Chaturanga is getting 360 degrees, strong and firing. And when we take the hands wider, we can engage more muscles on the front. We can engage more muscles on the side. We can engage more muscles on the back. Because when we create a little bit of space, we have more ability to engage, okay? So it's not about the elbows into the side body. It's that we are adducting the arm back in, not the elbow is in. Because when we just go here, we're just cheating. We're not using the muscles to bring the elbows in, so the shoulder's not being fully supported from all sides. We want to engage inwards, and when we take the hands a little bit wider, we can engage a little bit more. So when I take Chaturanga, my hands are wider. You can see my pointer, my pinky finger, my ring finger, and sometimes my middle finger are off the mat. And you know what? I'm still practicing yoga even though my fingertips are off the mat. But what is this allowing me to do? As I come into Chaturanga, it allows me to adduct the arms. My chest is firing. I can lower down with integrity. When my hands are underneath my shoulders and my elbows are into my side body, I can still lower, but this is all just pinning and holding rather than using strength and integrity. So if you want a good, proper shoulder, if you want to build true strength and stability and mobility in your shoulder, take your hands a little bit wider in Chaturanga, squeeze the arms in. Imagine you have towels between your arms and your ribs, and you're gonna squeeze the imaginary towels, and then pull your chest forward. We wanna get these muscles to work, and the way we get the chest to work is to take the hands a little bit wider. When you're bench pressing, right? Unless you are specifically targeting a certain spot in your chest, your hands are not here. More times than not, 99% of the time, we are bench pressing with the hands a little bit wider. Why? There is more power here because the chest is in a better position to work. Same thing in Chaturanga. Take the hands a little bit wider. It's okay if the elbows are not on the side body. I practice them. My Chaturangas, my elbows do not touch my side body. What am I doing? I'm trying to squeeze the imaginary towels because it's not about having the elbows in. You're not trying to pin your elbows or your biceps to your ribs. You're trying to squeeze in. And those muscles are your chest. You have your serratus on the side. You have your lat muscle here. You got some deltoid and rotator cuff muscles, right, that hold in, that draw the shoulders in, to keep the arms in to protect. So take the hands a little bit wider. See what it feels like in your body. Notice you may have a little bit more power, but what we just don't want is we don't want the elbows to flare outwards. We're trying to draw inwards, but it doesn't matter where the position of the elbow is. It's, are we engaging these muscles here? The reason I say we don't want the elbow to flare out, we wouldn't want to be like this because then these muscles are hard to fire, okay? So give it a go. Take your hands a little bit wider, right? Even fingertips can be off the mat a little bit. As you lower, squeeze the towels. Take your Chaturanga. You may find, just like me, just like most of the people that I teach this to, they find this a way more powerful and better position for them, which then allows them to gain true strength of 360 degrees in the shoulder.